Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Chanelle. Thanks for coming on my podcast.
Thanks for finally having me.
The second time. Okay, so we recorded this podcast 2 days ago, and the audio footage completely messed up. So I have this new podcast equipment, which is a lot easier to travel with. It's a lot easier to like record with guests. Like I like doing more casual episodes, like just like sitting on a couch and like I don't know, it just feels better. But I didn't realize that this Zoom pack that I record with, it has batteries, so I thought that I didn't need to charge it. But apparently I need to charge it even though it also has batteries. So I didn't realize that. It died, and then the audio footage was awful, and we want to bring good content to you. So we have to re-record.
Yeah. So part two.
Part two.
Round two.
But the episode was so
Take
good. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited. We are in North Carolina right now. We're on a girls' trip in Charlotte. So I'm from Charlotte. I wanted to bring everyone here because one, it's a pretty cheap trip for all of us. Like,
Yeah.
we're staying at my sister's house. We're, going to my family's place. Like, I have a car here, so it's nice coming here. And like, none of them have. I mean, you've been here before, but not like.
I didn't get to explore around. I was here for like a tennis tournament, but now it's like it worked out that we all could be here together and take time off of work and yeah.
And also, it's hard enough to get 7 girls to hang out on a weekend in Miami, like all at the same time. So the fact that we could like plan an actual trip is crazy. And I'm trying to get like more content with my friends just because I feel like I have such a good group of friends in Miami. And that's like the number one question that I get asked is like, how do you make friends as an adult? How do you make friends in your 20s? And so I also feel like you're really good at this because Chanelle and I met a year ago. Yeah. It's like a year ago that we met. Caroline's over there trying to be sneaky. You're good. You're not in frame. You're good.
Yes.
So, yeah, we met like a year ago, and Chanelle is probably the friendliest person you will ever meet. Like, just so friendly. So, one, I want to share like the story about how we met because it's so funny. So, okay, you can start it off.
Yeah. So I've been following Nat for, I feel like, quite some time now on YouTube. And I saw that she had just moved to Miami. And so I followed her on Instagram and I DM'd her and I was like, hey, if you ever, because you just moved, I would love to like hang out, grab coffee, play tennis. And we were like planning on it. And then one day I was in Brickell and I saw her like walking down the street and I was like, wait, that's Natalie. Like, I have to say hi. Like, this is my chance to be friends with Natalie. So then I like swerved, made a U-turn, and I was like, Nat, like, hi.
And this is in Brickell, which if you don't know Miami, Brickell is like a city. Like, it is a downtown, like, very congested, like lots of cars.
Yeah. I was like, no, I gotta make my first move. So I was like, Nat, as if I knew her, as if we were like besties.
So I'm like walking down the street and I just like hear someone yelling my name and I'm like, who is like calling me? And it's this girl in a Jeep and she's like rolling down her window. She's like, hi. I'm like, who is this? And then I recognized it was you. I like came closer to your car and I realized it was you.
Yeah. And then you had like an upcoming Rella event that I RSVP'd to, and so that was like a week or two later, and then so I went to that, and then I met like other girls that I'm now friends with, but also your friends, like Gigi, Catherine. Was Caroline there?
Yeah, Caroline was there,
and then Connor, kind of. But yeah, I've met like a lot of people at that event, and then we just started hanging out. I also didn't know that we also went to the same church, so that was also like a good, like, connection that we had. And then one of her, so Catherine, our other friend, she also plays tennis. So that was like another connection, but it's like a small world. But yeah, I'm happy I made a move and like said hello.
Yeah, which I think I'm like the opposite, where I want to be more like that because I'm like, I will like avoid eye contact with people, or like I'm like, I like am not. I don't know. I just feel like, oh, they probably don't know who I am, or I just don't want to go up to people and say hi. I'm very opposite of you with that.
I think I definitely like worked my way towards it. I think I was reading this book one time, and it's like just getting to know people and getting to know them and like learning about them and their history, how they ended up in Miami, and just meeting people. I think it like elevates your life. Yeah.
It does. No, it does. It does. And like, I wish I was more like that. It's just really hard for me to have like, I think I'm just like scared to go up to people and say hi. Like, I'm like awkward. Like, I don't know.
I'm
like,
awkward too.
You're not awkward at all.
I'm so awkward. But Natalie's really good at speaking to the camera and like doing interviews like this and just like filming herself and being like, you're so natural at it, talking to the camera. Like, I feel like super awkward doing that. So I think we both have those qualities that we can
we can work on both of them then.
Yeah.
If it's a camera, I'm like, oh yeah, like if this is going up to thousands of people, like I don't care, I can talk to anyone. But then when it's in real life and I'm like talking to you, I get like super nervous.
That's so funny.
And awkward. And I don't know.
I feel like super awkward talking, but
yeah, no, you have to, I think, when you're moving to a new place, because Chanelle, you grew up in Miami, but like you were homeschooled for a long time.
Yeah.
So did you have a lot of like friends?
No, I had no friends. I had one friend that from middle school, because I was homeschooled from 7th grade on. I had one friend that didn't play tennis, but most of my other friends were either like international or in another state. So I literally had no friends, because you usually meet your friends at school.
Mm-hmm.
And all I did was like, if I wasn't at school, like I was on court pretty much. That was my whole life. So my friends were mainly all tennis. So after college, I went to UCLA, and I don't know, I decided I should like make more of an effort to like put myself out there and go to like different events and do different things. And that's how I usually make my friends, just try to make an effort to say yes to activities.
You're
like,
an activity girl.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love like learning about everything.
Any activity, Chanelle's there.
I'm down, but I like to do it with friends. Like, I don't like being
But
alone.
you'll meet people. Like if I go to an event, like I'm not meeting people really. Like I'm like staying in my circle. Like whenever Connor and I go to networking events, it's like there's no point in going, because I stick to his side the whole time. Like we just talk to each other and we like hope people come up to us. Like we're not out networking with other people, like going up and saying hi. Like that's just like not my specialty. But you're good at like going to something, like whether it's pickleball or the Rella event or something like that, and like actually like making a point to meet people.
Yeah, I just think it's like, I think it's just interesting to actually get to know a person and what they like, and then like how they ended up in the same spot as you that day. I think that's,
you want to learn their story.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to your childhood, because Chanelle is a pro tennis player. And so I, one, could not be more opposite, because I did not grow up with sports. Like I was not an athlete. I never really played sports growing up. And so I just like, we could not have had more opposite childhoods, I think. Like you being...
You were engineer major, right? At school, you were like super smart. Like smart.
No, but like for me, it's just like I would go to school and I would like come home, I would do my homework, and then I would like do like little hobbies, but none of them involved sports. So it was...
Yeah, we are pretty extreme,
very different. So Chanelle was homeschooled growing up for the most part, but I want to go back even like before then. When did you start playing tennis? Like how old were you, and did you try out other things, or did you like stick to tennis right away and like that was what you knew that you were good at?
So I started when I was 6, because my parents wanted an activity for me to do in the summer. I'm the only child, so they were like, okay, let's look for something that's close by that Chanelle would enjoy. And they were watching tennis on the TV on ESPN, and then they took me to a local club, and I remember stepping onto the court. I like, from that very moment, I was like, okay, I want to beat everyone. And I think because I had that mindset at a young age, I improved quickly, and then I started playing tournaments, and then I did the 10 and unders, the 12 and unders, 14s, 16s, 18s, and I was top in the nation, and because of that, I was able to get like free training through the USTA, which is our federation. But I just picked up tennis. Well, I did tennis and then gymnastics.
Oh, I didn't know you did gymnastics.
For a little bit, and then ice skating.
What's a little bit?
Like, I want to say maybe for a summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And
how long did you ice skate for?
For a summer.
Oh, okay. So not that long. Okay.
Yeah, not that long. And then I also did, ice skating. And I think my parents just saw like a future with tennis if they were gonna like pay for all the lessons, and I really enjoyed it. So I stuck to that, and I started training like almost as a pro at like age 10 or 11, honestly, like at a young age.
Wow. And at age 6, when you said that you like wanted to get on the court and you wanted to like beat everyone, were you always, I mean, at age 6, like always, you probably don't remember yourself at like 3, 4, 5, but like, was that something that your parents told you? Like when your parents took you to tennis lessons, were they like, you're going to beat everyone? Or did you just like have that feeling?
I had that. They didn't tell me anything. Like I just remember having that feeling myself when I first went to the tennis club. And then as I kept on excelling, I think within that year, they're like, oh, okay. Because the coaches kept on telling my parents apparently that like Chanelle's like really, really good for her age. And then, but it was all me at first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it came from. I'm not really sure. I think from that day, watching tennis on TV and seeing how like intense they were. And I just wanted to be exactly like them. So yeah, it was like US Open playing on TV or something.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like that some people are just naturally competitive.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so competitive at everything. It's almost like too much. But yeah, that's like one of my things.
Yeah. And when you started like playing at 6 years old, were you just wanting to win, or did you actually like the sport? Like, did you actually like playing, or was it more just like a competition?
Well, no, I loved playing, and then I loved winning. So I loved it all. Like I really like enjoyed it.
Did you win like everything at that age? Because like you're playing with like babies, you know, and I mean you're a baby at that age seriously too. But like if you're competitive at 6, like
well, I mean at 6, so like 8 years old, I really like that's when I like started taking it. I'm sorry. More.
You saw my eyes like glaring at the mic, and I'm like, put it closer to your mouth.
I would say 8 years old is when I like really started to take it seriously. Like I was telling you that I would train before elementary school, and then I would leave early. I would leave PE. I couldn't go to. I mean, yeah, field trips were to my parents. They were like a waste of time. So like I would play tournaments instead. Yeah, I sacrificed a lot starting at a young age.
Yeah. So what was your normal schedule like when you were in school? So before you got pulled out, before you were homeschooled, how old were you, and what did your day look like that little?
So I started being homeschooled at 7th grade, but before that my schedule would be like get up at like 6:30, train before my first class from like 7 to 8, and then 8:30 start class or something, and then leave. My parents would pick me up from school at like 2 p.m. or like 1:30, and I wouldn't be able to do PE, and then I would go straight to training for like 2 hours. And like the training it wasn't like beginner stuff. It was like I was literally training as a pro, because my coach at the time was he was really strict. Like I definitely had tough love at a young age, which I don't really recommend, like starting that young. You need a balance, but my coach was really tough.
What do you mean by like I can imagine what you mean by like having a tough coach, but what are some like examples of like the things that he would say?
Let me tell you. Okay, like do you know what clay court is versus hard court?
Yeah.
Okay, so example, if I wasn't like bending my legs enough for like a forehand or shot, if I wasn't getting low enough, he would make me walk. This is so bad. He would make me walk on my knees from the baseline to the net. Yeah. And the clay court is like, it's like grindy, like it's not, if you walk on your knees, it is like painful. So I would do that, or he heard that I would be scared of the dark. So he made me run around in Miami. There's like this place called Crandon Park, and it's this big tennis center where the Miami Open used to be. And they would turn off the lights, and he'd make me run in the dark. Yeah, no, it was
Were
tough.
You like traumatized?
Kind of, yeah. But it did make me tougher, but also my parents were both immigrants, and my dad was in the military. So like I already had like a pretty strong mindset. But like, yeah, my coach was really, really tough, which is why like that balance is important, especially at a young age, because if not, then you'll get burnt out by the time you're 16, which is kind of what happened to me when I was like 18, like 17, 18. I was like pretty burnt out mentally. But luckily I was able to get a full scholarship to UCLA. I didn't want to miss out on the college experience, because I was homeschooled. I missed out on that. So yeah.
When you were in school and you were getting pulled out early and you were like not being able to do PE and you were training before, did your other classmates like get it, or were they like, why is Chanelle like leaving school early, or like why is she not doing this, or was that just like not even talked about?
I mean, yeah, I was known as like the tennis girl at school. I always like morning announcements. I'd like come in and bring my trophies, and like they
Wait, really?
yeah.
Like
I
you
mean,
had like the school was like
I didn't have to do it, but like I was just always I was missing so much school because of tournaments, and like everyone knew me as like the tennis girl. Remember the comment that was like 16 years later? He was like,
yeah,
oh, like we had someone commented on my photo, and he was like from elementary school, like he knew me as a tennis girl, and then 16 years later he like asked to play tennis with me. But literally that was like my identity my whole life.
16. I feel like more than that.
Yeah, more than that. I don't know why he said like 16 years later,
It's like
but
20
long
years
time
later.
Yeah,
at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that would be like elementary school. Yeah, like
yeah,
that's
it's so
crazy.
funny. Yeah,
that's I think it's so strange that that comment is just very strange.
Yeah,
like,
that was.
Remember
was
me
like,
from elementary
like
school?
not hi, how are you? It's just like
Remember me? I wanted to play with. It literally said like, do you remember me from elementary school? We were supposed to play tennis together.
literally.
No, I don't remember you from elementary school. Like,
but
I don't even remember my teacher's name from elementary school. I'm not gonna remember a random kid.
Yeah, but that's pretty much what I was known as my whole life. But it's fine. Tennis like opened up so many doors for me. It's actually crazy. Like that's why I always recommend. I mean, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I always recommend people like for their kids to just get into tennis because it's more than just a sport. You learn so many things off court, like discipline and mental toughness, and then you build all these connections even after like junior tennis.
Mm-hmm. Were there ever times when you were that young playing that you like wanted to quit or were burnt out even at like a super young age, like maybe even before you went pro, or did your parents encourage you to stay in it, or kind of what was your mental state that young, like 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old?
Yeah, because I was the only child. My parents, and then obviously my parents being immigrants, like usually, and Asian, they're really strict. And my dad was in the military, so I did have tough parents. Like I remember sometimes I would lose matches and I would have to do reps, like shadow reps in front of the mirror. Like
what's that?
So a shadow rep is like basically my parents had a mirror and like I would have to do like a technique swing like over and over again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like you're not gonna be like top, and this happens for a lot of top athletes. I feel like you have to have a tough love, and so my parents definitely gave that to me. But so yeah, of course, like I had times where I was over it and I was like burnt out, especially when I was like later 17, 18. I was like sometimes I didn't even want to be on court, but they weren't to the point where like it was like toxic. Like I've heard of relationships where like the parents would be, some of them would be like go to jail. Like they would like beat their kids in the parking lot. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. Junior tennis, yeah.
That is crazy.
For losing. And then like sometimes they would force kids to like try to cheat.
How do you cheat?
Like in a match, for example, there's a ball that's that's in, and they'll call it out just to get a point, and then change up the score, stuff like that. Okay. And I just remember like I was fortunate enough to have like parents that were tough, but like not to the point where they're like beating me up. Like it was like beating at like yeah, it was bad.
That's horrible. Mm-hmm. That's wow. How would you recommend a balance though? Because like you said, to go pro, you kind of have to have tough love. Mm-hmm. Like unfortunately, you probably won't make it pro if you don't have a lot of discipline. And at a young age, how do you get discipline? By being tough. Yeah. But like you said, there's a line, and there's you were mentioning that like you don't even recommend some of those things because like you think that there should be a balance. So if you had a balance, what would that look like? And if you had the balance that you wish you had, or that you would do with your kids, do you think that you would have still been pro? Like, do you think it would have been beneficial?
I think so. I would definitely want, like, if I were to do it again for like my future kid, I would want them to have more like other activities that they can do. It could be other sports or like another like dancing or something, so that because if you keep doing something every day for like multiple hours to the point where it's like twice a day and you're not with friends, like you're gonna get burnt out. So I think spending more time with friends or just other activities, especially, and I wouldn't start training as a pro until like 15 maybe. Like 14 to say 17 I think are like good years to start training as a pro. I wouldn't start training as a pro at like 9 years old. That's like too much.
And that's what you were doing. Yeah.
And I would also work on introducing like the mindset of the mental toughness in sport at a younger age, because I like had sports psychologists, but it was like once a week or something they would speak to me. Like I'd do like a certain way that
it wasn't how you would have, like, it wasn't enough, you think? It was like to check a box.
Yeah, it was like I didn't feel like it was super impactful.
Yeah, I feel like also back then, how like 20 years ago, like it was not as like therapy and like mental health was like not talked about at all.
No, it was definitely not. Now in women's tennis, because of Naomi Osaka and like other players, they're speaking out about it. But our season is like from December to November. We're gonna play all year round. We're gonna get burnt out. Whereas other sports like NBA or other just sports, it's like a few months and then the rest of the time they have off. I mean, they're still training, but like tennis is so mentally, I mean, it's a lot. It's a grind.
Yeah. And how do you, at that age, like, how do you kind of cope with like losing? Like, were you really tough on yourself when you lost a tournament or when you lost a match, or were you like, okay, just on to the next one, like it's time to get better? Like, what was your mindset early on, and how has it changed?
Yeah. So in the juniors, my mindset was like, I actually, thinking about it, I was always playing. I had a lot of pressure on my shoulders because I was like a USTA kid. And so if you're getting free training from the federation, it's like people, of course, they want that for themselves too. So they're like, okay, if she's getting free training, she has to be producing results. So I was like super tight playing, like nervous all the time playing. I honestly don't think I was playing my best tennis, but I still was top in the nation. But after college and playing pro and learning more about my mindset and how much of an impact it plays on your game, I think I can handle things better. But what was your
like, how did you handle losing back then?
Oh yeah, you kind of have to have like a short-term mindset, because anything can happen in tennis. You could have a horrible week, and then the next week one match can change everything. And that's happened to me in the past, where I like played awful, and then for some reason, like the next week I was like, okay, one match I won, it was a good win, and then you keep on getting confidence. The next match I won again, and then I ended up winning the tournament, and that tournament almost changed my life. It was like one of the biggest tournaments in junior tennis. So
oh wow, which one was it?
The Orange Bowl, and
okay.
It's like
in LA.
No, it's in Miami. It's in
never mind.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest tournaments.
Is there an Orange Bowl in LA, or am I making that up?
You're making that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I was like, I thought I knew something. Nope.
Yeah. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe I'm thinking of like the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I think the Rose Bowl. Yeah, that's football though.
That's football.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
It's okay. Yeah.
Like I said, very opposite childhood.
But yeah, my whole life I was like traveling. And I was fortunate because like I didn't have friends in my hometown in Miami, but I had friends like all over the world, which is cool.
Yeah. How was that? Because like growing up for me, my best friends are the people I went to school with. You know, it's like that's who you become friends with. And so on the weekends, or if you have a birthday party or like play dates or whatever, you're just like going to their house, you're riding your bike over. Like, yeah. For you, when you were in Miami, was the only thing you did tennis, or did you have any social life? Like, did you have cousins, family? Like, what did you do?
No, I didn't have a social life.
Which is crazy because you're the most social person right now. Like, Chanelle is the most social person. She knows everyone. You're friends with, like, you have connections to literally anyone. You're so friendly. You go out all the time.
I think that, and it's also because of tennis. If you think about it, it all stems down to tennis. Because, like, I know people that know people, and because they all love tennis. It's kind of crazy, my connections in Miami. But I think I'm, like, super social now because I didn't have that when I was younger.
Yeah. Are most people like that, though? Or do most people kind of, like, curl up into their shell?
I think they're not like that. I think they like, I don't know where I get it from. I think my mom maybe, but yeah, I feel like most people are more closed off.
Mm-hmm. Do your parents ever kind of like look back and say like, oh, we shouldn't have been that tough with you, or we should, like, do they ever think back and like wish they did anything differently with like the toughness? Or do
No,
you
I don't
wish
think
that they
so.
did anything differently with the toughness?
I've never spoken to them about what they like, how they could have done things in the past differently, but just like I said, like having other activities to do at a younger age, just to mix things up, because if it's like the same thing over and over again for a kid, it's like too much. But I never really like had that conversation with them.
Yeah. And they pulled you out of school, or did you want to get pulled out of school? What was that decision?
No, that decision was them. That like leaving early because I wanted to stay for PE, but they just thought it was more beneficial for me to get more practice time in. So yeah, that I wish I stayed. But
what about being homeschooled though? Was that a joint decision, or was that did you want to stay in school, or were you like, no, I love tennis, like this is what I want to do?
It was both, because initially they were like, okay, maybe you should be homeschooled because I was missing too much school. And then I was like, yeah, I want to be homeschooled. But then I remember junior and senior year, I was like, oh, but I wish I had friends at home, and I want to go to prom and like do all these activities. So I actually did try out for a school. I tried out for a school in Coconut Grove called Arts and Minds, and it was a arts school, and I actually auditioned for this. Like, you have to have a talent to audition
so it's
for.
Something creative, like not for tennis.
Yeah, my senior year, because I was like, I'm kind of burnt out and I want to do this, and I got in for, I didn't tell anyone that I got in for singing.
Wait, that's awesome.
I didn't tell anyone this. Yeah, so I auditioned, which was crazy.
Because Chanelle has a great voice. You post singing videos on TikTok, and I'm like, hello, what?
Thanks. I sing. I get really shy.
You can
but
belt
it's like,
it out. You have a mic.
Oh my god, no, I can't. I literally can't right now. Like, can you imagine? It's like plot twist. I start singing. I like to sing in the shower, but like, I don't know.
Good
we're
enough
working
to get into a school, so
yeah. So I did that, but then it ended up I again to miss too much school, and then I just stayed homeschooled. But
did you want to go to that school? Like, why did you? Was it just because of tennis that you didn't get in, or that you didn't go?
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked out because I was traveling too much for tennis. That's pretty much what happened.
That's great that you got in anyways. So
yeah.
I feel like it was good, even if you didn't go, to prove to yourself that like you could still do that if you wanted to.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a really cool school in the Grove, and then they ended up closing down like a few years later. It was such a cool think High School Musical.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was near Green Street.
I think I feel like I've like seen it. Like,
yeah, we've passed by
Cocoa Walk.
Near that street of Green Street and Locale.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's like right there. I don't know, it's
like
dead
I've
right now, but yeah.
Dang. So when you got pulled out and you were kind of like, homeschooled from 7th grade on, what was your routine and what was your schedule?
So I went to boarding school.
Wait, I didn't know that either.
Well, it's.
I'm learning so much about you, and this is
who are you?
This is our second time recording.
Yeah. Oh okay, I say boarding. Is this recording for sure?
It is.
So I say boarding school, but it was homeschooled, but like we would have our computers at the school, and it was USTA. So there's USTA in Everett in Boca, and Monday through Friday I would stay there, and I'd stay in the dorms, and I would get up at like 5:30 or like 6 a.m., eat breakfast, go to fitness from 7 to 8, and then 8 to 10:30 be on court. Then after the first practice, we'd get lunch, and then from like 12:30 to 2:30, we would have online school. And so we'd sit in a classroom with like our computers, and we'd have one teacher, Miss Berger, loved her.
You had her all those years?
Yeah.
One teacher for like 6-7 years?
So she would watch us. She would be there, but we'd have like our own virtual teachers.
Okay, but Miss Berger was there for like 6 years.
Yeah. Miss Berger. So shout out to Miss Berger. Oh my God, I love it.
It's so funny that you just had like the same teacher for.
Yeah. And then we all had so we did our literally classes online, and then at like from 3 to 5, I would have practice again, and then 5 to 6 fitness. I would cry. It was so tough. It was so tough.
It was like part of your routine.
Yeah,
like every day.
Yes, it was so tough. Like they would push you to your limits. And then
did everyone?
Everyone, yeah. No, this was tough training. This was like boot camp. So then from 5 to 6 we'd have fitness, and then change, and then from like 7 to 9 we would have class again, and then do it all. Yeah, like online school in that classroom. So Monday, Tuesday would be twice a day. Wednesday would be half day, and then we would get that's like a recovery day. And even on recovery day, we would have to get like deep tissue massages. I would cry because like they would go so deep. It was like tough. And then Thursday, Friday, practice twice a day. Saturday was half day, and then Sunday was off. And I do it like on repeat. And if I'm not home,
how many years?
I did that for like 4 years.
Oh my gosh!
And yeah, that was my life.
That I just like could not be more opposite.
Yeah,
like that is crazy. But I have so much respect because you were so young and so disciplined.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The fact that you went through like that much, I don't know, I feel like you put your body through a lot. Mentally, it was so tough. And now that you were homeschooled for that many years, then you went to college, obviously you went pro afterwards, but to also be the person you are today, which is like so friendly, so kind, so outgoing, like I'm like, if you meet Chanelle, like you would never think that like
I had no life.
Yeah, that you had no life, that you had no friends, that you. I'm like,
yeah, it's crazy. I wish you guys knew like me before, even like a year and a half ago. Like I was training as a pro, and I was like saying I like didn't go out. Like I still haven't. It's just I don't know how to explain like how my life was. It's crazy.
So Chanelle also is the person that goes out the most out of our friends, I would say. Like she's always at like the club dancing. She's always out with her friends. She's always at a party. She's on a boat. She doesn't drink though.
I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I've never.
Yeah. Like nothing at all. No drinking, no drugs. Like not even like a sip of alcohol. So is it because of growing up being this disciplined, like you couldn't do that then, so you've kind of like carried that over, or no, that's just like a separate reason?
That's a good question. The reason why I don't drink, honestly it just makes me feel sleepy, and I'd rather use the calories for dessert, to be honest. But I don't know. I feel like I don't really
You don't need it. No, you don't need it at all.
It makes me sleep. It's like the opposite effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just was like, I wonder if it's because of those like years of being so disciplined.
I mean, maybe it could be like that probably has like some kind of like correlation. But I mean, yeah, we got like drug tested, but in the past, but I never did it anyways. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's funny.
And then you went to college. So you went to UCLA. You got a full scholarship.
Yeah.
What was that decision like, going from, do I just go pro and skip college? Because you could have done that.
Yeah.
Or actually taking those 4 years to go to school and like play tennis there.
Yeah. So I was recruited because I was top of the nation. I was recruited. Like all these schools wanted me at a young age too.
What schools were you picked, or was UCLA the obvious choice, or were you like picking between a few?
I mean, honestly, like every school wanted me, but I wanted UCLA because I knew my coach was best friends with one of the main coach, the assistant coach at the time, and I had that relationship with him when I was 14. And then it was the first school that I took an official visit to, and I loved it. So I really want to go there. But yeah, I was like, UCLA it's in LA. It's close. The weather's amazing. It has so much history. And, I decided to go to college because I was homeschooled, and I didn't want to miss out on another opportunity to get a full ride. Because if you get injured in tennis, it's like, you really have, you need something to fall back on. So what a lot of American tennis players do is they go to college, and so that's what I did. I got a degree in history, which
is so funny. And yesterday when we were recording this, that was the first time I learned that Chanelle has a history degree.
Really? Wait, what'd you think? I
just like never thought about what degree you had.
I don't know. UCLA didn't have the greatest like options for degrees. Like our number one degree was communications. I probably should have done like psychology or like just something else, but I love history. I'm not going to teach it. Like I'll teach it like for fun, like friends talk about it, but like I just.
Do you have like history facts you pull out sometimes, or like?
I mean, not really.
Like,
I
what
just
do you
like
teach
learning
your
about.
friends?
I don't like teach. I mean, I don't know. Like I
I'm
just
like,
I
I've never
enjoy.
gotten-
I
I've
enjoy.
you've never given me a history lesson.
Never ever. Yeah. Okay. I delete that part too. I just like love learning about history, and but I'm not. I don't. I knew like after college I wanted to do something, either like start my own business or like work for myself. So I honestly just went because like I wanted the experience.
Yeah. And after college, so you guys won like a bunch of things in college, right?
Yeah, so
Like,
we were a bunch of things. We were number 1 in the nation. Our team was really good. We made like finals of national, the NCAA's freshman year, and then sophomore year we made semis, and then we won it my junior year, and then senior year we made finals. So like we were a really good team. And then my coach was Pete Sampras's sister, Stella Sampras. But yeah, that's like the winning an NCAA championship is like the highest achievement you can get in college sports. So that was a really like one of my highlights in my career.
Yeah. And then after college, or I guess also I wanted to ask you, in college, since you were homeschooled for so long, now you're playing on a team, which tennis is such a solo sport.
Yeah.
So was there a culture shock going from being homeschooled to going to school with like tens of thousands of kids?
Yeah.
And also, was it a culture shock like playing on a team now instead of it being super individual?
Yeah. Well, in terms of academics, I was definitely like I struggled freshman year because I also went in halfway through the year. And so it was just like going from being from a virtual classroom to an actual lecture hall with like 200 kids. That was really stressful for me. So it was a struggle the first year. But in terms of playing for a team, like that was really refreshing because it's just more fun being a part of a team. Like everyone's encouraging you and you're not like out there on your own. But the academics part was really, really, really tough. But we had extra help, like being an athlete. We had like mandatory tutoring and like priority for classes. So that helped.
Mm-hmm.
But the team aspect, like I love. I'm such a team player, so I like really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But then going back to pro, then it's like, dang, it's like back to serious. Like pro is a whole nother level of grind, like whole nother level.
More than what you were doing even before.
Yeah. Before it was junior tennis, like, yeah, like pro tennis is like everything else is a joke. Everything else is a joke, and there's like pro tennis, and it's like you have to be mentally, physically ready for that. Like I would have like planned in advance better. You need funding for that. It's a whole other thing.
Which I didn't realize that tennis players have to fund everything.
Yeah.
And like in other sports, obviously, like if you're in the NBA, if you're in the NFL, if you're in any other league, you get paid a salary and you are guaranteed that salary for the most part.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, if you win a game, then you get this money and that's it. You guys don't make money unless you win a tournament, correct?
Right.
Like you have to win the entire
You have
tournament?
to win. Well, you get money each match you win in singles or doubles.
Okay.
Like prize money. But that's how you get money. If you lose first round, then that sucks. And you have to wait like a few days to the next tournament. And you pay for all your flights last minute. Hotel, coaching is a whole nother. A lot of people starting out, like it's too expensive to pay for a coach. It's crazy.
Did you travel with a coach?
Most of the time I didn't because it's really expensive, but I try to have someone travel with me, whether it's my parents or a friend, or get a group of girls like at a tournament. But if you're like with a group of girls at a tournament, they're also your competition. On court. So there's like all these factors, but
are girls, I mean, players in general, but you were playing against girls. Are the girls that are playing against you, are they catty? Like, are they going to try to like sabotage you in any way? Or what's the dynamic like when you're friends with them and in the same circle as them, but then you're also literally competing against them?
So I'm like, for me, I'm like super, super respectful. I'll be like, best friends with everyone off court, but on the court it's business and I'm there to win. So but like there's a difference, like I feel, with the US girls and then the girls that are like European or international, but European because like they want it more. I feel like they're more like catty. But girls can definitely be like, they're so like, we're really emotional. But yeah, tennis can definitely bring out a lot of emotions.
So like on the court, are you like, let's say you're competing against your best friend. Have you competed against like some of your best friends?
Yeah.
Are you like,
no, like on the court, it's like no mercy. Like, you're dead to me. Like, like bye.
Okay, and then afterwards,
best friends,
again, like instantly.
Yeah. Well,
what if you lose to them?
If I lose, I'm still like, I shake their hand and I'm like, nice playing. Like, I'm respectful. I think I do a good job of separating everything. Like, I'm not gonna be a bitch.
Yeah. Are you trash talking, or is there trash talk?
Yeah, there's definitely trash talk, but like, I definitely don't.
What's the trash talk? Like, give me an example of what someone has said to you.
Oh, I've had girls like come up and like shake my hand and be like, I'll beat you next time. I'm gonna beat you next time. Or like,
what do you say to that? Are you like, okay?
Yeah, like, okay. Like, I don't know, walk away. I don't really say anything.
I don't like,
I don't like confrontation. I do a pretty good job like controlling my emotions on court.
She's never broken a racket. I learned that last recording.
Yeah.
Out of anger.
Yeah, on purpose. I've done, because my dad would always be like, he would always want me to be on my best behavior, because you never know like who's watching, if it's like recruiters or like sponsors, but also you're like a role model to people. But yeah, especially when I started having like a Christian mindset with things, it's like, it's not about you, it's like also like younger girls look up to you and how you are on court, off the court. So yeah, I try to have like a good image with that. Yeah, I cannot see you trash talking anyone. No, that's low. I don't do that. Yeah. And when did you decide to take a break? Like, what was you graduated at what, 22? I'm assuming. Yeah. Then you went pro, and then away? It was like a few months in. I was like playing pro tournaments, but like I didn't have a training base. I was winging it pretty much. Like, I wasn't doing a full on pro situation. Yeah, I think I took it seriously in 2020. And then, were there tournaments going on during COVID? There were some. Yeah, like for a bit there wasn't, for a few months, and then we started having tournaments again, and then we have to get like COVID tested every time. It was like this whole thing. It was like crazy during that time. But I really started taking it seriously. I think it was like 2 years ago. I really tried to make it and was trying to be super focused with like how I was handling things. But like I said, there's so many factors that go into making it as a pro. Yeah. And so I asked this last time, and I know that there was like a range, but what is everything you have to pay for, and like what is an average cost? Like, let's say you have to go play a tournament in California. Like, what's the average cost that is going to put you in? Because you have to pay for everything yourself. Yeah. So like I was saying, it varies. A lot of people, they plan tournaments depending on location, like how close they are, if they can get housing. But like if there's a pro tournament, I live in Miami, I would want to play a tournament that's closer, or if I can find housing, then like a tournament in Florida, find housing so I don't have to pay for hotel. I would drive there, and rather than play a tournament in California where I have to pay for flights, like $300 one way or average each way, pay for hotel. It just varies, but for a year, I'd say like the cheapest way to do it, and I would say without a coach, you would be spending like at least $100K on like everything without a coach. And this is like super cheap. Cheap without a coach. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. And is it easy to get sponsors? No. That's insane. No. So you kind of like have to have money. Yeah. Like, oh yeah. I mean, unless you're literally like top, like someone like Coco Gauff or someone that's like, you're young and then you have like so much potential, but it's hard to find sponsors to sponsor like an individual. It's a risk. Yeah. I mean, because what can they really get out of it unless you're like on TV all the time? I don't know. There's like this whole thing, but yeah, it's tough to find sponsors. Luckily, that's why I play half Vietnamese, so I have a dual citizenship, and I have a sponsor in Vietnam, so that helped. But it's still like, even with that, it's tough.
Yeah, that's crazy. Tennis is such a rich sport then.
Yeah.
Like you have to have money. I
yeah,
guess.
even like to train at IMG, like your dad, well, you remember he mentioned it yesterday. Now it's way more expensive, but for players to train there, I want to say it's like maybe average like 80K or 70K to train there each year.
That's crazy. Yeah, my dad loves tennis and he plays like every single week. He's going to play Chanelle tomorrow.
Yeah. He got so into it. So into it.
He was like, his dream was to go to IMG when he moved to the US because he had to do his senior year in the US. So it would have only been for 1 year, maybe 2 if he extended it. But it was just like way too expensive. And he was like, I couldn't. So they literally, my dad came here with $0 to his name. So like, could not do that.
Yeah. Unless they see like a potential in you or you have some kind of results, it's tough to get a scholarship. Mm-hmm. But for me, because I was top in junior tennis, I was able to get like free training, but that's just training. Then you have the travel part and the coaching part.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so when did you take a break? So you started playing again at 22 when you graduated.
Yeah.
And now you're on your
break. Right now I'm on my break. I went through some traumatic stuff recently, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it was like too much for me for my mental health to just travel, especially on my own, to do everything on my own, and then like be losing money on top of it. So I just made the decision that I needed like a break. And we'll see if I'll go back to pro tennis. Right now, people are like, it hurts my heart to say this, but people are making more money in pickleball.
That's crazy.
Yeah, pickleball's taking over. I have friends that are like former top 10 in the world that are signed contracts for pickleball because that's where the money is now. So, and if it's more like, it's not as hard as tennis, then like
it's like easier on your body.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's lots of that. And then maybe if I have my sponsor can work things out in Vietnam, you never know. But I'm just, like I said, I'm trusting in God's plan, what he has for me. And I did that for I had a traumatic thing that happened 2 years ago, and which brought me closer to my faith, and just trusting in his plan. And since I have done that, I've met like amazing people, and I feel like I wouldn't have met like you guys or like any of the people I have now, the life I live now, if it weren't for that event to happen. So
yeah. And how has your I know that you said that obviously you got closer to your faith, and since that's happened, do you think that has also helped changed the way that you play too? Like, did you have that when you were growing up and playing, or does that make more of a difference now?
It makes a huge difference. Before I was playing, I was obviously I was playing for myself, and that put a lot of pressure on me and my family. But just knowing that playing with your mindset that God's given me this talent, and to use my platform to spread his word, or just, I don't know, I'm playing for him. It's definitely changed my mindset, and it's made me more grateful for things. And I just feel so much better about my life being playing, being a Christian athlete.
Yeah,
100%.
That's awesome.
And I wish I had that. I knew more about this stuff when I was in the juniors. But
what would you tell yourself or anyone else that's now 12, 13, 14 years old? They're kind of going down your same trajectory where they're going pro. What advice do you wish you had, or what would you tell the younger generation growing up?
I would definitely say take care of your mindset, and have your specific goals down, know who you're surrounding yourself with, still try to have fun with it, keep that balance. But I think the main thing is your mindset. It's so important, and if you can control that and be super positive about everything, but have that growth mindset, I think you can improve so much faster, and it just makes a huge difference on how you can play on the court, but also off the court. I think little things matter, and just just taking care of your mindset. I think that's what I would personally
Yeah.
tell like the younger generation.
I love that. And
which is why I'm writing that book.
Yeah, Chanelle's writing a book right now, which is insane. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
And she also posts such great like tennis tips and like tennis content on TikTok, and you're like growing a lot.
People like love to learn, and tennis is tough because it's like I wish I could be there with people to show them. I love giving feedback, and I'm like a tennis geek. I've trained all over the world with the best coaches. So I'm like, okay, I need to like put this information out there. And TikTok's been, it's a platform where people, like, you can learn a lot of stuff there. And so I just started posting, I want to say consistently, like 3 months ago I started, but I honestly need to get back on it. But it's funny.
You've grown a ton, though. I feel like you've grown a lot on Instagram, too.
Yeah, from TikTok, but also like pickleball. I have like a lot of pickleball fans from my videos. So like both, and then I'm gonna tap into paddle. But like honestly, like pickleball, like that's a lot of people. Like I've been getting a lot of followers from that. I don't know, because it's like blowing up right now.
That's crazy. I need to play with you.
Please.
I'm not good, but I need to play with you.
It's so good. Also, it's like tennis, paddle, and pickle are like all good for networking. Like, I literally play these sports to make friends.
Chanelle's so friendly. That's
so fun.
Friends. I need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Well.
All right. Where can they find you? And where can they like follow you, get all your content, and when is your book gonna be out? So
I'm gonna launch it probably within the next month, I'd say.
Yay, it's gonna be self-published.
Yeah. Yes, and you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. It's Chanelle Z, ChanelleZie.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks, Chanelle.
Thanks for having me.